How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on my channel here. Today we got a 2007 Honda TRX 420. This is actually not my machine. This has been owned by my friend for I'd say roughly 4 months now. I think he picked it up around the start of the summer, just as a machine to kind of get him around and maybe do some hunting with and whatnot. And he's since replaced it for the most part with a Grizzly, but this is sort of just a spare machine and whatever, because these are, pretty reliable machines and nice to ride, selectable four-wheel drive, things like that. So I was just going to give you a quick walk around of this machine in case you were in the market or something and you wanted, to know kind of what goes on with these things. And then I was going to just go over some of the problems that he actually had with his, and some of the things that he had done to them, as well as there's a couple little repairs that I might do and whatever. And then we'll, as usual with my videos here, we're gonna go for a quick ride on it and, kind of show you how it performs and shifts and things like that. So I guess to start off, we'll just go for a quick little walk around here. He's got a winch on here. I think the previous owner had a winch on it. And I think he just added this winch, like he rewired it or something, or I'm not too sure on the story there. But he does have a winch on it. He's got it kind of mounted a little, I would argue a little funky looking, but it does the trick. Goes in and out. It's got a nice protective sleeve on it here. And, he had a light bar on it, but I think he likes to run over some trees and stuff, and that one might have dislodged itself, but the wiring is still all there for it for the most part. So I mean, it wouldn't be much to get some new mounts and a new bar. So he's got a switch in here, and I think everything's next to the battery, so it just needs to be connected and throw a bar on there. He's got some these tires, I believe, were from the previous owner. These are Dunlop. They don't have like a model on them. Pretty decent tires. They all hold air. Got some good tread on them. So I mean, you can't ask for much more. Got some good suspension in here. I have ridden this machine around and it does ride quite nice for its year. It's not quite a full-size machine. It's a relatively small machine still, but I mean, it's as close as you can get without having a full-size machine. As I mentioned, it does have selectable four-wheel drive, which is pretty sweet, especially on an older machine like this, because typically these older Hondas are just all-time 4x4, but to have selectable is nice because a little easier to maneuver around the yard when you don't have the front wheels powered. What else can I show you here? Get your typical Honda setup here. There's lights, kill switch, start button. Brakes both work. Front and rear brakes. Got a pretty nice looking seat on here. Looks like a seat cover because there's some weird ripples in there, so it must have been covered or the foam might be broken in there. Plastics are in relatively good shape, besides the ones that are missing, like this one. And that would kind of segue me into the next part of this video about the issues that he's had with this machine. I'll skip over that for a second. Just give you the rest of the little walk around here. There's your foot brake. That's your shifter. I believe it's a 5-speed with reverse. So to segue here into my next little thing I want to talk about here. So this is all his light bar wiring. And I'm not quite sure what that is. Mess of wires. Junction point of some kind. So the issue that my buddy here had with this machine. So, pull that seat off. So what had happened was he took this machine out for a ride or whatever. I think the story goes he let his sister or someone take it for a spin. And the key was left in the on position, which usually wouldn't be a big deal, but the headlight was on. Killed the battery, so he boosted it. He just brought a battery out to the garage where he keeps it, threw the battery on some jumper cables, threw it on here, fired the machine up, ran good for, the next little ride. Brings it home, tries to go out again a couple days later, battery's dead again. because I'm imagining the stator or alternator or whatever these machines have probably didn't have enough power to recharge the battery to the point that it could start at least. So he boosted again with the battery. It was all good. Went for his ride, used it, whatever, and that was about that. Parked it again. Same issue next time he tries to go to start it. Battery's dead. I'm pretty sure that happened a total of 3 times. When the last time he went to start it, he had absolutely nothing. Wouldn't start. The battery was completely dead, of course. Jumped it, completely dead. No fuel pump priming, no spark, nothing. So he went into diagnostic mode. He jumped out the fuel pump, which I don't even know where it is, to be honest with you. Jumped out the fuel pump. He put 12 volts directly to the ignition coil. He did pretty much everything you could do to figure out what was going on. But when you put 12 volts to the fuel pump, it worked. When he put 12 volts to the ignition coil, he got spark. So it was kind of a weird situation where it's like the machine just wanted nothing to do with having an opportunity to start. So what he ended up finding was the ECU, which I believe is this box down in here, had actually crapped out on him. I think this is the ECU. That might actually be these might be the fuses. I don't know. He replaced the ECU with an eBay part. Machine fired right up. So I guess in a matter of the battery discharging a few times and then you know, not ever getting properly recharged in between, the ECU must have offed itself somehow. How the hell that happens, who the hell knows? Typical of, you know, these computerized machines, not carbureted, and you know. But anyways, so what he did was replace the ECU, which is, again, one of the boxes in here. There's many different little modules and relays and doodads. So if you're ever in the market for a Honda 420, I believe this goes for the Rancher as well. This is just a TRX model. This is not the Rancher. Not quite sure what the difference is, but this one's camo and the other ones are red. Keep that in mind, that you should keep your battery at least somewhat charged to prevent things like that from happening to you. Because it cost him, you know, $200 plus shipping or something like that on eBay for a new ECU, plus the time of fiddling with everything in here and, you know, kind of wasting a couple of evenings of trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this machine. So anyways, so that would kind of branch me into the next part of what I want to talk about here, which is the fact that he's missing some plastics here. And he kind of lent me this machine and said, you know, if you can make it look pretty, because I think the plan is he wants to sell it, or at least make it look better. So I have here the taillight housing. This is the harness, because the previous owner had actually cut this off for some reason. This is the old taillight, which was all burnt out and plastic snapped off of it because it hit a tree or something. So this mounts back here. But what we need to do is create a cover piece for this. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet, because we've been looking all over the internet, and at least in Canada, it's pretty hard to come across this piece. I'm assuming it's probably a common issue that they are either broken or moved, or who knows. So, I mean, the other alternative, I suppose, could be to cover this with a 2-up seat, but, I mean, you have all this wiring just exposed. So we're going to make some kind of cover here, some kind of plastic cover. One other thing I should mention here before I go to work on this mess is the other issue. I think the packing in the muffler is probably blown out because it's got a wicked rattle to it at times. I'm actually I'll fire it up here quickly for you in this clip here. I'll show you, see if we can get it to go. So it should fire up. Neutral light is actually burnt out. It is in neutral. So you can hear it intermittently. Not too sure what's going on there. I'm pretty sure it's just the packing in the muffler. I'm not a muffler genius, but I think the muffler is probably just blown up inside, if I had to guess, because it does backfire every now and then too, so I'm guessing that might have been an issue. Anyways, we'll get to work on that, and we'll check back in, and then we'll probably just take this thing for a spin so that you viewers can see what this thing looks like in action. All right, a little while later here, got the really half-ass cover on here. Just figured more than anything it's, you know, keeping the electronics dry, and, you know, seat can still clip down because, you know, worst case scenario, you could probably throw a 2 up on here and wouldn't even know it's there. So, but that's gonna have to work for now. As you can see, the garage is getting a little full here. Got the other video, spoiler alert, that's coming slowly but surely. Life's getting busy. But anyways, we'll get some riding clips on this machine here, and that way we can finish off this video here. Alright, well folks, this is a very strange transition in a video. I realized midway through editing the video about the TRX 420, which you were watching me ride about 3 seconds ago, realized I never filmed an outro, and I've actually returned the machine to my friend who owns it. The garage is put the mower away, still got the Odyssey kicking. Getting a video ready for this with this. Still trying to figure things out. It's an old machine, so farting around with it still. And I broke my Grizzly. The clutch, there's no splines left. I don't know what the hell happened, but I wasn't really going to make a video on it because when I bought this machine, it was a Chinese clutch that had been put on it, and I think that's the problem. There's no splines in there either. I don't know if they're supposed to be, actually, because it's got that adapter piece. So anyways, dealing with this, parts on order, not a big deal. You know, stuff happens, so getting it dealt with. Also got some pegs to put on so that the old lady can have some foot pegs when she rides on the old 2-up here. Hopefully, you know, when it's back to moving condition. It's not doing that right now, as you can tell. Anyways, thanks for watching the video on the Honda. Sorry I didn't get any like outro clips or anything, but hopefully this will suffice. I love that machine. Honestly, like, it's very comfortable to ride, given that it's still a solid rear axle and everything. And it's fast. Like, it's a very quick machine. Doesn't quite have the top end that the Grizzly does, but I mean, even the Grizzly with 28-inch tires will do, you know, 75 to 80 kilometers an hour, give or take. I don't know what that is in miles per hour. Like roughly 50, give or take. A little higher than that. I think those Hondas, typically, my 350 that I have, my older 4-tracks, tops out at around 45. So I imagine it's somewhere around there. So, but either way, I mean, you saw in the clips, like, there was a lot of wind going on in there and stuff, and it rips pretty hard for the you know, machine that it is. It's definitely not a 660. It's a 420. So a lot, pretty you know, sizable for what it is. Anyways, I'm rambling. Hope you enjoyed the video. Here's my Grizzly again. The dog has brought his soccer ball here. He was trying to play and then realized I was in the garage and wanted to go for a ride, but I told him the quad is not moving. Anyways, have a good one. Thanks for watching.